representing the Latino experience, the Mexican experience, and for being so candid about your own life and giving us permission to write about it. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's my cousin. Always spiritual, right?
Hi. Thank you for coming.
There's a question.
Right here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming. And I was wondering, how does it feel to like write so personally about your family or your mother and your dad in front of everyone? Like how I don't know. Yeah, and how do you think they feel about that?
Okay. Well, when my father was alive, I was pretty much, it was pretty easy because my father didn't read my work. And, unless he finally read House on Monmouth Street when he was on dialysis because he was on captive, he hooked up the machine, so he finally read it. And when my father died, I had a visit from my father in a dream. You can tell when you get visits and they're not dreams. And I could have asked my father anything. Like, what's the secret of the universe? Or, is there a God? And I asked my father, Papa, are you alive or are you dead? And he said, oh, it's that I'm dead. And I said, oh, well, now that you're dead, did you have time to read my book yet? And then he disappeared. Could ask anything, no! But my mom only read Carmelo, which is a book based on her twice. She's the mother and she's also the awful grandmother. But she didn't recognize, she thought it was her mother-in-law, so it was cool. She only read it in out of order. She would open and read and close. I think she was afraid to read what I had to say. And I think she was very liberal in a woman, very intelligent, but she was very conservative sexually, so she didn't want to read sexy parts. That's what, and the bad words is what my aunt told me too. Mom doesn't want to see the bad words. So I don't really know what they thought. But if I think about them, I can't write. If I think about you, I can't write, I block. So what I have to do when I'm writing is to meditate and ask for courage and ask to honor the people I love with the writing. I want to honor them. And when I do it with love, then it's gone. It's all going to come out. That's right. If you're writing about someone alive, I would suggest you change the gender and the physical, how they look, because you don't want to hurt anyone. There's enough pain in the universe.
So I have a question for you. You began with writers that you were talking about, specific writers like Thomas Wolfe and so forth and so on. But what's very interesting in the last piece that you read is, in a way, speaking of your parents, I feel that you gave us a sense of the arts that they themselves were invested in and that they practiced. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about how they saw and how they were absorbing. I mean, for instance, your father with Alarma, right? And your mother with her interest in going to the library and obviously getting books, and also you said other art forms that your mother was interested in. Could you comment a little more on how you actually integrated their interests and fulfilled them in a way?
Well, I think my father gave me popular Mexican culture. And by taking us to Mexico, he wasn't aware that he was also giving me so much of the daily art that is everywhere present in history that's present in Mexico. My mom, on the other hand, she loved opera, and she took us to the best museums and the concerts, and so we got a fine education to make up for our shabby neighborhood schools. But my dad didn't realize that he was opening me up to pop culture like telenovelas and fotonovelas and Familia Burrón comic books and things that would surface in my writing. So I got the high and the low. I got the high from the working class person and the low from the middle class person, kind of reverse. And it was a good combination. And then I got front center seat in the class wars, because the Mexicans and the Mexican Americans don't get along. So I got that war, and now I'm living in the same region where my mother's ancestors are from, in Guanajuato, and I feel as if my mom's family never got any attention because they left with the diaspora of the Mexican Revolution in the 19 teens. And now I'm being called back there. You know, I had a really strong spiritual epiphany when I was there, and I knew I had to move there. And then the GPS shut off. So I don't know why I'm there, but I will know. And I'm just sticking it out. And it's just very exciting to be someplace where my mom's family, who was so disparaged and so lost and so erased, that I'm actually, you know, living somewhere where I have deep, deep spiritual roots. I'm going to be on that show, Finding Your Roots. Yeah, next year. I'm taping it in like the week after next, but I'm a little afraid to find out what they're going to say because I've done DNA work before, but they didn't give me the breakdown of which indigenous groups I'm from, and now there's a new genetic bank in Guanajuato breaking tribes now. So I'm really anxious, you know, to find out about my past. And you know how that show is, you know, they always like to sneak up on you and say, turn the page. Your great-grandfather was Cortez. So, you know, right now I don't know what, they like to do that. I've seen that show. So I'm getting ready. Like, you know, I thought they were going to say that we are Sephardi. My father's side, we're from Seville. And, you know, more Arabic blood, because, you know, I feel like all Mexicans are the Arab Jews, and we should be called in to do the peace negotiations, don't you think? You know, because we're both. And, you know, so I'm really anxious to hear what cultures all came together. And so, you know, watch out for that. You'll be as surprised as I'm going to be. Yes. You don't have the microphone, but I'll repeat your question. And then also, what advice do you have for aspiring Mexican-American women writers? Okay, double question. How do I reconcile my two cultures, Mexican and American? I always tell people you have a mother and a father, right? You love them both. Is that a problem? No, right? It's like that. I have two countries, and one is the motherland and one is the fatherland. The motherland I think of as Mexico. It's very matriarchal and earthy. And fatherland is the United States. I love them both, and they gave me wonderful things and great gifts. And I think all writers, regardless of what culture we are, or what gender, or where we come from, it's important that we travel so that we can hold up mirrors. That other people and other cultures hold up mirrors to us, so we can see how we're different. You know, I'm just traveling 4 hours to Iowa allowed me to see what made me different from anyone in this room. So ask yourself that. What are 10 things that make you different from anyone in this auditorium? And then 10 things that make you different from anyone in your family. And 10 things that make you different from other Mexican-American women and other writers. And like that, you keep making that list. And other people of your church. And other people even in your major. And you keep splitting hairs and finding that place of otherness and go there. And that's your gift, because by seeing who you are, you help me to see who I am. No? One more question?
Yeah.
All right, one more question.
Why is it that you began writing? What prompted you to start writing?
I think I started writing because I was very lonely and unpopular. And this book is going to have a photo of me with those asymmetrical bangs. And you know, when you're not chosen to be the popular girl or not picked out and to play a part in the school play, you know, you have to retreat into your own imagination. So I think that's, out of loneliness, I began writing, and then I became